one of the biggest events that you will experience in your life, and that is a midlife crisis. And I can almost guarantee that you'll never see it coming. How many of you who are over 40 one day came to the realization that I have a great house, I have a great spouse, I have great kids, I am financially secure, I have it all going on, but yet I feel so lonely, so empty, so unfulfilled, and I don't know why. None of this makes any sense. It doesn't add up. So what is my problem? But some of you will hope that this will be short and sweet and that you will eventually get over it, only to learn that the only thing that happens is you've just become used to the pain. You become accustomed to it. It's become part of your reality now. But yet you haven't dealt with anything. So here you are, a man over 40, and now you are recalling a conversation or two that you may have had with some of your friends or maybe some work colleagues that seem to be going through something similar to what you're going through now. So what you tell yourself back then, or I should say what you told yourself back then, is that I will never let that happen to me. I will never go through a midlife crisis. But now it's happening to you. And so what do? You're like an animal in the wild who's injured or sick. You isolate. You don't want them to know that you're feeling less than, feeling weaker, that you're not the same buck that you used to be. Now you feel a little bit on the vulnerable side. So what do? Again, you isolate, you stay quiet. A midlife crisis is not a form of weakness. It is a real psychological phenomenon that happens to most men as you mature. Your passion for life, your life satisfaction begins to flatline. What might start to happen is you will experience grief disguised as anger, restlessness disguised as ambition, and loneliness disguised as independence. Also, some of you might be experiencing lower than normal testosterone levels, higher than normal cortisol levels. Maybe your sleep patterns are off. Maybe you've gotten into the habit of eating atrociously. Maybe now you're living in a body that you don't even recognize anymore. Ask yourself, if I do nothing about this, what will this cost me? What if it costs me my marriage? What if it costs me financial freedom because I'm divorced, I now have to pay alimony. I now have to pay child support. What if it costs you your health because you do nothing about it, but yet you are in such poor health that you could have a heart attack or a stroke at any time? And now things are just going to keep piling up. Things are just going to keep getting worse for you. You're not even aware of what it is that's happening because you're constantly trying to disguise this. I know what this is, you tell yourself. I know this will pass, you keep telling yourself, but yet you do nothing. Now here's the deal. There will always be some of the men who feel that going through a midlife crisis is a form of weakness. What you do not realize is that, and if you do not take charge of this, if you do not take control of it, it will take control of you. What has been my experience to be able to navigate my way out of it so that I came out better, not bitter. These are the 4 steps that I took. Number 1, first become self-aware of what I'm thinking and feeling about myself. That was the hardest thing that I had to do because I realized that for years I was not completely honest about how I thought of myself, what my real identity was at the time before I went through my midlife crisis. Second, take deliberate action. what I did was to not only become more aware, about like saying and writing down what it is I was thinking and feeling. I created a journal for myself. I wrote in that journal obsessively, first thing in the morning, throughout the day, last thing at night. What I had done without realizing was I created this perfect map of where I'd been and where I was about to go had I not realized what I was doing. I would have continued down that path of being the typical male who goes through a midlife crisis, and that is somebody who makes poor financial decisions, somebody who eventually gets out of a relationship to be in a better relationship with someone who's much younger, more fun, more wild or whatever. And I would have let go of everything that I worked so hard for. Once I started to realize what was happening, I was able to stop that train from moving any further. And I made better decisions. The third thing I did was I found a mentor. I found someone who I admired very much, they had told me in the past that they had gone through this as well. Now, if you do not have a mentor, you can hire a therapist, or you could hire a life coach like me, somebody who's gone through it and somebody who can help you navigate your way out of it and help you to come out better. The fourth thing, and this is a hard one for a lot of you, and it may sound really hippy dippy, and that is to love the person you are becoming. You will not be able to take your old self with you onto the other side. That person has done their job. That young buck who worked very, very hard for you to get you to where you are now has done their job. You need to leave that person behind. You want to embrace the new person that you are becoming, the smarter, the person who is less reactive but more responsive. Responsive? The person who responds rather than reacting. The person who contemplates. The person is almost kind of like, and I know this sounds weird to say, I picture this person to be a little bit kind of a James Bond, Daniel Craig kind of guy. He's still an alpha male, but he thinks before he acts. He's not a child. He's not a young buck. He is a mature, healthy male. That's the identity that I stepped into. So again, self-awareness, taking deliberate action, get a mentor, and love the person you are becoming. Those are the things that help me to navigate my way through my midlife crisis. Now, there's always different ways of doing it, but these are the things that help me. If you need more help with these things, again, my name is Uriel Mesa, and I'm with ktslifecoaching.com. Comment down below midlife crisis and tell me a little bit of like some of the experiences that you are going through even now. And we see if we can create some sort of a dialogue between the two of us. And if there's something I can do to help you, I would love to do that. Thank you so much.